ladies and gentlemen, to the 400th episode of Reaction and Review. My God, guys, it still feels weird just thinking that I'm up to my 400th episode. It feels sort of weird, but it also feels so awesome at the same time. And I gave you guys the chance to vote for what movie was going to be covered for episode 400, and you guys came out in droves and said you wanted me to cover this movie, which is a horror film from 1986. That movie is Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Now, I don't know a lot about this movie. I do know that it is one of the movies which led to the creation of the NC-17 rating, partially because this thing could not get an R rating from the MPAA, no matter how many edits they made, because apparently the movie is that graphic. So it wound up hitting theaters rated, and that fight with the MPAA lasted almost 4 years. So even though the movie was finished in 1986, it didn't come out in theaters until 1990. Now, the only other thing I know is that this film is a fictionalized version of the story of real-life serial killer Henry Lee Lucas. That literally, guys, is the only other that's the only other detail I know about this movie. I have not seen a trailer. I have not seen a clip. I haven't seen shit from this movie. I am certainly hoping for it to be good, but the only way I'm gonna find out is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm gonna do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Alright, guys, so this here's like the fourth victim we have been shown in this film. It'd be kind of nice if we had some context to him, because guys, it so far is just Henry driving around, and then we cut to a victim somewhere dead, and it really, guys, doesn't have any real, impact, because there's no context behind when, how, or even why these people are dead. It seriously, guys, just kind of sort of feels like, they're kind of sort of wasting some really awesome special effects on ultimately nothing. Okay, guys, well, I am able to say this much. When they cast Michael, Rooker as Henry, my God, that is perfect casting. Rooker is a creepy motherfucker in this movie, and I think it's gonna make this whole thing rather interesting. Okay. So Henry has killed so many people in this movie so far. At least I'm going to assume that all of the corpses we see are Henry's work. But possible incest is where he draws the line. Okay. Kind of thought maybe murder'd be a little bit worse than, incest. But then again, I'm not in Henry's fucked up head, now am I? Okay, I never thought I'd see somebody stab another human being with a fucking, soldering iron. That's definitely new. Fucking awesome, too, but I was not expecting that. I am never going to look at a soldering iron or a black and white TV the same fucking way again. That was really awesome, guys. Okay, guys, I'm going to say this right now. Henry is way too fucking good at snapping, people's fucking necks. That is the third person I've seen where he just, without any effort at all, just snaps their fucking neck, and it's creepy every single time. Holy shit. Guys, Henry is incredibly creative with the items he uses to kill. Earlier, I saw him stab a man to death with a fucking soldering iron. Now he has stabbed someone to death with a comb. Wow, that is fucking both creative, awesome, and just a little bit creepy. Well, guys, that was Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Let's shut that off. Okay. Wow, that was a dark film. Just seriously, guys, that honestly is like the one thing I can say. Just going right in is this thing is like one of the most pitch black films I think I have ever seen. And really, it kind of makes the whole thing awesome because the tone is just so bleak and so dark. Writing. Let's talk about the writing. Guys, I have seen a lot of movies in my, lifetime. I've seen a lot of movies which have tried to handle things such as, like actual clinical psychological problems. Henry here is probably the closest we will ever see in a fictional film to a clinical psychopath. And it really makes the whole thing even more chilling. Because guys, we seriously are watching this movie effectively through Henry's eyes. We follow Henry during his entire time in Chicago. And we just see how he kills because he wants to. He kills because it's what he wants to do at that time. He does it almost as a hobby. And the fact that he is so calm about it. He is just so calm going into it. He is so calm when he's taking care of the bodies. He does not react to it in the slightest, which is something that you would see in a clinical psychopath. It really makes the whole thing infinitely more chilling. And it also is then sort of and it is then paralleled against his fucking partner Otis, who seems to be getting off on killing. Where you see, guys, Henry is able to take a soldering iron and just stab someone to death with it and then slam a TV on their head. Otis then turns around and will then plug in the TV and will then laugh at the sparks that basically come shooting off of the victim's head. And this whole time, Henry is still stone-faced. This whole thing is chilling because you basically are seeing how you're seeing how a true psychopath would function in the world, and how they would go about not being caught. There actually is a scene where Henry talks about how serial killers always have a pattern, and if you don't want to get caught, you have to change up your pattern every single time. And he seriously goes into so much detail. It seriously, guys, goes down to he honestly is not even able to shoot someone with the same gun. So he honestly just comes up with all of this, which is probably why he is able to fashion so many interesting murder, weapons, such as the soldering iron or the comb in the third act, because it's just how he functions. The whole thing, guys, and this whole story of just following Henry, it is a dark and chilling story, and you are going to be fixed to the screen the entire time. And the story, guys, is fantastic, and the pacing on it is really good. The one issue I have is the fact that way early on, and I mentioned this, we are shown a handful of Henry's victims, but we are not given context as to how how he met them, when he killed them, exactly what his method was. Correction. You actually can kind of sort of make out the method on three of them, because two of them he shot in what looked almost like a robbery attempt. The other one was a prostitute in a bathroom, and she has like a Coke bottle jutting out of her head as if he like stabbed her in the face with it, probably after slashing her up with it. It was a really creative thing, and it would have been even better if we would have seen everything leading up to the victim instead of just going, "Hey, look, victims." Once the movie gets, going, it seriously, guys, just runs and it never stops, and the movie is fantastic because of that. Our characters here are not ultra deep. However though that that honestly can be kind of sort of pointed out to the fact that once more we basically are looking at this film from Henry's point of view, and Henry's a fucking psycho who basically just sees people as meat. So he obviously is not going to give a shit about anybody. Thus, nobody has to have depth. At least that actually is how I'm going to. That honestly is how I'm going to write off the somewhat, like, shallow characters, is that you are kind of seeing all of this from Henry's lens, let's say. And so, because he doesn't care about what the hell is going on in the lives of these characters, you are not going to get anything out of it. The movie, honestly, guys, it kind of benefits from having shallow characters because of that. Now, not only do we have writing that is shockingly strong. Again, shockingly, because normally, guys, when you have characters who have almost no personality, that usually is a detriment. Shockingly strong writing, even with that. The acting here just takes it and runs with it and makes it amazing. I want to mention our star. Henry is played by an actor named Michael. His name is Michael Rooker. And Rooker, holy shit. Guys, I have known that Rooker can act. And Rooker can act very, very well. I have seen him in films, and he can just blow everybody away. Except in almost all of those, he is basically playing as, like a bruiser or an asshole. He's never had to play a serial killer. He has never had to play a psychotic. And here, he plays it perfectly because in every single scene, he's calm, he's peaceful, and it just becomes so unfucking nerving. And if Rooker would have tried to turn Henry into a cliche movie serial, killer, it would have probably ruined this entire film. However, because he plays it so calmly, it makes the whole film that much more chilling. And of course, and naturally we have his fucking performance backed up by an incredibly strong cast. Almost nobody turns in a shitty showing. The only actor I can say turned in this absolutely hideous thing is very, very late into the film. Henry is walking down an alley and he sees this woman who is walking her dog. That fucking woman's acting was hideous. But every other person in the film turns in a stellar showing. And it really just makes this movie awesome. From start to finish, fantastic acting and fantastic writing. Now, special effects. There is very, very little here in terms of special effects outside of seeing those victims early on, and seeing the fucking soldering iron television, victim, as well as the comb kill late in the film. And almost all of that is done really, really well, except for one scene where a character's eye is jabbed out with the fucking comb. That shot looked terrible, and that actually is because the head that's because the head that they used, first of all, was very, very obviously a rubber head, and it was far, far lumpier than the actor whose head it was supposed to be. However, though, that honestly is such a small and short, shot that I really don't think that anybody is going to actually give a shit. And you probably are not going to notice if you were watching this thing on, say, like DVD or VHS. However, though, Blu-ray has, guys, a little bit of a habit when it comes to special effects, and it is that because the film is in high definition, you see so much more. That honestly is the one shot which is kind of sort of ruined because of the high definition transfer. But once more, that shot is also all of about 2 fucking seconds, if even, so it honestly doesn't even matter. Sound mix here is mostly good, save for one scene, because there's a scene where Henry and Otis are getting fucking ready to shoot somebody. Or I should say, Otis is getting ready to shoot, somebody, and he fucking like gets off on it a little bit too well. The dialogue there is incredibly muffled, and it honestly is nothing shy of a miracle that you can actually understand what is being said, because that one shot was mixed that badly. Or they never bothered to loop in the dialogue in order to clean it up some. That honestly is like the one lone problem I found in terms of sound mix. Lighting here, guys, is fantastic. The camera work here is awesome. Ultimately, guys, when all is said and done, I can absolutely recommend Henry. But I do have to stress that even that yes, guys, this film is incredibly graphic, especially by 1986 standards. It is still incredibly graphic by fucking today's standards. This thing here is a pitch black movie that basically takes you into the fucking mind of a psycho, and it is going to be incredibly chilling. And this thing, guys, has turned out to become one of probably the best horror movies I have ever seen, and it did it with almost no gore in sight. That is saying a lot. It has almost no gore. It has very, very little blood when you seriously compare it to other horror films. It does it all because of how Henry himself is written, and it turns into a fantastic horror movie simply because of that. Yes, guys, I can absolutely recommend this, and if you haven't seen it, please, by all means, check it out. This thing, guys, is going to have a very happy and prominent spot in my fucking Blu-ray collection, and I am absolutely overjoyed that this thing was episode 400. It is so happy to know, guys, that the 400th episode of this series was a movie this fucking amazing. Now, Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer came off the Amazon wish list. The person who sent it in was Robert, and please, guys, swing on out to Robert's. I believe it is his Amazon profile, where he has tons of reviews of movies and everything typed up over there. Please, guys, swing over there, check out everything. Robert, I thank you, because I have wanted to watch this movie for years and I never had a chance. I honestly could never even find a copy. And when I put it on the wish list, it was you who picked it up, sent it in, and I thank you for that. And I also thank everybody who voted for this movie to be episode 400. And also, guys, on one final note, this is, as I've stated about 15 times now in the last couple of minutes, this is the 400th episode of this series, and I want to thank every single one of you guys who have shown up every single week and have watched everything that I have. I want to thank everybody who has watched my stuff. I want to thank everybody I want to thank everyone who has sent in movies, everybody who has sent in, I want to thank everyone who has sent in messages. You guys are the reason why this series is still going. I have said it once and I will say it again. You are the best fan base any human being could ever ask for. All of you fucking rock, and I love each and every one of you. Now, guys, I am going to go celebrate the fact that I just finished filming episode 400. I am not totally sure how I'm going to celebrate, but god damn it, I am going to go and celebrate. With that, guys, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.